blinks on Greenland, withdraws threats of tariffs and use of force after reaching what he calls a framework for an agreement with NATO. But Europe stays wary, delaying trade talks with the US amidst fraying trust. Trump unveils his board of peace in Davos with less than 20 nations attending the signing ceremony. 8 Islamic nations join the board. China stays cautious, says will continue to back a UN-centric world order. As India and the European Union set their sights on a landmark free trade agreement, Europe calls it a strategic reset. Dubbed the mother of all deals, it's expected to be signed next week during the India visit of the European Commission and Council presidents. Karnataka witnesses a fresh constitutional storm as Governor Thawar Chand Gehlot walks out of the assembly after reading just 2 lines of his address. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah accuses him of acting as the centre's puppet, hinting at a Supreme Court showdown. The Supreme Court allows prayers by both faiths on Basant Panchami at the contested Bhojchala complex in Madhya Pradesh. Hindus allowed to pray all day. Muslims get a fixed namaz window. Ten army personnel killed and another 10 injured after their vehicles skidded off the road and fell into a gorge in Jammu and Kashmir's Doda district. A South Korean woman faces horror at the Bengaluru airport as a staffer sexually harasses her under the pretext of carrying out security checks. The man, caught on CCTV, has been arrested. And Bangladesh decides to boycott the T20 World Cup in India after the ICC rejected their request to shift their matches out of India. This comes amid growing political tensions between the two countries. Hello and welcome to the Times of India. You're watching Headlines at 8 with me, Neha Khanna. Our top story. The World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, has seen plenty of drama in the last few days, with new geopolitical battle lines being drawn, especially after Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney's speech talking about a rupture in the rules-based international order thanks to American unilateralism going viral. On Wednesday, US President Donald Trump addressed the forum. His speech was full of familiar bluster and threats to Europe over his fixation on acquiring Greenland, which he described as a big, beautiful piece of ice, even mistakenly referring to it as Iceland. But while Trump is undoubtedly hell-bent on taking over Greenland, he has abruptly stepped back from the brink, dropping his threat to slap tariffs on European allies and ruling out the use of force over Greenland. Trump now claims that a framework agreed upon with NATO chief Mark Rutte could unlock a future deal on Greenland. He's calling it a win for the US and NATO nations, even as details of what this framework might look like are unknown. US media reports suggest that part of the prospective deal includes renegotiating the 1951 agreement that formalized US military presence on the island, and NATO has discussed the possibility of Denmark allowing America to build more military bases on land considered sovereign US territory. However, tensions between the United States and Europe over Trump's Greenland gambit are far from over. In fact, they have spilled straight into trade as well, with the European Parliament indefinitely delaying a crucial vote on ratifying the EU-US trade deal. Citing Washington's threats to Denmark's sovereignty and the use of tariffs as pressure tactics, Trade Committee Chief Bernd Lange warned that the US was shaking the very foundations of trust, stability and predictability that underpin transatlantic ties. For weeks now, Trump has been issuing daily threats to take control of the mineral-rich island, alarming Europe and rattling NATO. While Washington insists talks are now focused on Arctic security and blocking Russia and China, Denmark maintains Greenland is not for sale and its sovereignty is non-negotiable. For now, the tariffs have been shelved and use of military force may be off the table, but skepticism lingers over whether the framework that Trump is referring to has any real substance or is merely a face-saving pause.
We never asked for anything, and we never got anything. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that. Okay? Now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force. All the United States is asking for is a place called Greenland, where we already had it as a trustee, but respectfully returned it back to Denmark not long ago after we defeated the Germans, the Japanese, the Italians, and others in World War II. We gave it back to them. We were a powerful force then, but we are a much more powerful force now. Greenland is a vast, almost entirely uninhabited and undeveloped territory that's sitting undefended in a key strategic location between the United States, Russia, and China. That's exactly where it is, right smack in the middle. Wasn't important nearly when we gave it back. You know, when we gave it back, it wasn't the same as it is now. It's not important for any other reason, you know, everyone talks about the minerals. There's so many places. There's no rare earth, no such thing as rare earth. There's rare processing, but there's so much rare earth. And to get to this rare earth, you got to go through hundreds of feet of ice. That's not the reason we need it. We need it for strategic national security and international security. This enormous unsecured island is actually part of North America, on the northern frontier of the Western Hemisphere. That's our territory. It is therefore a core national security interest of the United States of America. And in fact, it's been our policy for hundreds of years to prevent outside threats from entering our hemisphere, and we've done it very successfully. We've never been stronger than we are now.
US President Donald Trump today unveiled his Board of Peace in Davos, with the signing ceremony attended by fewer than 20 countries. Trump said he wants his new Board of Peace to work in conjunction with the United Nations, even as he criticized the UN for failing to live up to its potential. Trump had previously suggested that the Board of Peace, which he constituted chiefly to help rebuild Gaza, might eventually replace the UN. But today he said he wanted the two to work in combination and that it could result in something very, very unique for the world. And then he was quick to add, on the 8 wars that I ended, I never spoke to the United Nations, not any of them. They tried, I guess, and some of them, but they did not try hard enough. The Board of Peace, indefinitely chaired by Trump, was originally conceived as a limited body tasked to oversee the reconstruction of Gaza, which was decimated by Israel's war. But its purpose has since expanded to tackle conflicts the world over. Meanwhile, in a significant diplomatic moment, the foreign ministers of 8 Islamic nations, including key Arab states, have welcomed Trump's invitation to join the Board of Peace, signaling rare collective backing for an international push to end the Gaza war. In a joint statement, ministers from Qatar, Turkey, Egypt, Jordan, Indonesia, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia and the UAE have confirmed their shared decision to join the body. Responding to Trump's invitation to join the board, China has said it will firmly defend a UN-centered world order.
We're going to be very successful in Gaza. It's going to be a great thing to watch, and we can do other things. We can do numerous other things. Once this board is completely formed, we can do pretty much whatever we want to do, and we'll do it in conjunction with the United Nations. You know, I've always said the United Nations has got tremendous potential, has not used it. But there's tremendous potential in the United Nations, and you have some great people at the United Nations. But so far it hasn't. You know, on the 8 wars that I ended, I never spoke to the United Nations about any of them. And you would think that I should have. You would think they could have done those 8 wars, but they couldn't have. And they tried, I guess, in some of them, but they didn't try hard enough. But there's tremendous potential with the United Nations, and I think the combination of the Board of Peace with the kind of people we have here, coupled with the United Nations, can be something very, very unique for the world. Together we are in a position to have an incredible chance. I don't even call it a chance. I think it's going to happen. To end decades of suffering, stop generations of hatred and bloodshed, and forge a beautiful, everlasting, and glorious peace for that region and for the whole region of the world, because I'm calling the world a region. The world is a region. We're going to have peace in the world. And boy, would that be a great legacy for all of us. Everybody in this room is a star, or you wouldn't be here.
As India and the European Union edge closer to sealing their long-delayed free trade agreement, Europe is pitching the pact as a strategic reset, not a routine trade bargain. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has described it as the mother of all deals, built on trust, reliability and complementarity, a partnership that goes beyond tariffs and market access. The European Commission and European Council presidents are set to visit India next week as chief guests at the Republic Day celebration, and that's when the much-awaited free trade agreement between India and the European Union is expected to be signed. While the EU is already India's largest trading partner, Europe now sees India as a hub for high-value manufacturing, technology collaboration and talent-led growth. In a world of fractured supply chains and geopolitical churn, the India-EU relationship is being framed as equal, rules-based and future-facing, a signal that India is no longer just a trade destination but a central player in shaping the next global economic order.
Europe is India's first trading partner, is a technology-driven economy, and we want to attract businesses, investments and talents and combine European technologies and Indian scale and skills to build integrated and resilient value chains. And we all are witnessing how are badly needed. The size of Indian economy and also the talent of the workforce makes India a competitive base for producing high-value components and products which can benefit European but global industry in return. Our companies are already here, and I think that the benefit of FTA will be seen also in terms of investment. One can think that is focused on trade, but trade is a driver of investment. So by opening up trade, you will encourage businesses to also invest if they realize that their product sell well. We have already 6,000 companies, European companies here. They directly employ 3 million people and indirectly millions. But we can grow together. We talk and we will talk about the FTA, but this is much more than FTA. I think that India is ever more a priority for Europe, and this is not rhetoric, as is a priority for my country. There are two main elements in this, I would say, reliability and trust, and complementarity. You said rightly, Anish, that we are in an era of geopolitical turmoil and predictable unpredictability. Well, in this context, I think the advantage of Europe is of being a reliable partner, consistently working with India on key tracks. Europe's approach is also peer-to-peer, is a win-win rather than zero-sum game. So, is persuasion and agreement rather than, transactional approach. And so this upcoming summit, of course, we all hope that it will bring the mother of all deals, but in general, it will adopt an agenda that is ambitious, mutually beneficial, and future proven, and covers all the main sectors of interest that are and this is a strength, the sectors we also, as member states, work on. I said reliability, trust, predictability, and also complementarity, because no deal is good unless it really corresponds to mutual interests. And we have a lot of structural convergences. It's not marginal to remember that we are ancient civilizations, and these favors better understanding with respect to other partners. If you also take one flagship initiative that is not necessarily the object of the summit, but is the object of the partnership, which is the IMEC initiative.
A new flashpoint has erupted in the growing governor versus state government battles, this time in Karnataka. Governor Thawar Chand Gehlot sparked a political storm by walking out of the assembly today after reading just 2 lines of his customary address, abruptly ending the speech amid protests. The trigger? Objections to 11 paragraphs in the government drafted text that allegedly criticized the centre and its policies. The drama unfolded at Vidhan Sauda after hours of suspense, with Chief Minister Siddaramaiah personally receiving the governor, hoping to diffuse tensions. But Gehlot chose to deliver only a brief opening in Hindi and ending with Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka before leaving the house. Congress legislators erupted in protest, chanting shame as the truncated address deepened the constitutional standoff. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah came down hard on the governor, accusing him of violating the constitution by refusing to read the full government-approved speech. He alleged Gehlot was acting like a puppet of the centre and failing to discharge his constitutional duties. The Karnataka government has now signalled it may move the Supreme Court, escalating what has become a high-stakes institutional clash with national implications.
The governor has to address the joint session, and he has to read the speech prepared by the cabinet. That is constitutional, because 176 of the Indian Constitution, Article 176 of the Indian Constitution, and 163 of the Constitution says he or she, governor, shall read the speech prepared by the government or cabinet. Today, instead of speaking the speech prepared by the cabinet, he spoke the speech prepared by himself. That against the Constitution, provisions of the Constitution, Indian Constitution. It clearly violates Article 176 and 163 of the Indian Constitution. Therefore, it is not going to be the speech of the governor. He has not discharged his duties as per the Indian Constitution. has not discharged its responsibilities as prescribed by the Indian Constitution. Therefore, we are going to protest against the attitude of the Speaker. Governor, sorry. Governor.
Are you going to approach the Supreme Court constitutional bench?
We are examining to approach the Supreme Court or not. We will let you know.
In a finely balanced order, the Supreme Court today cleared the way for prayers by both the Hindu and Muslim communities on the occasion of Basant Panchami on Friday at the disputed Bhojchala Kamal Mola complex in Madhya Pradesh's Dhar district. Hindus have been permitted to offer prayers from sunrise to sunset, while Muslims will be allowed to offer namaz between 1 and 3 p.m. The top court has urged restraint, mutual respect and cooperation to ensure peace on a day charged with religious significance. A bench led by Chief Justice of India, Surya Kant, directed the district administration to put in place robust law and order arrangements. The court also asked authorities to regulate access, including submission of a list of Muslim worshippers for the namaz window, underscoring the sensitivity surrounding the site. The Bhojchala dispute, simmering since the 1990s, sits at the crossroads of faith, history and law. Hindus revere the ASI-protected 11th century structure as a Saraswati temple, while Muslims identify it as a Kamal Mola mosque. A 2023 ASI survey ordered by the Madhya Pradesh High Court concluded that the existing structure was built using remnants of earlier temples and later modified into a mosque. With centuries-old claims colliding and fresh archaeological findings fueling debate, the Supreme Court's order aims to prevent confrontation at one of central India's most contested sacred sites. The coveted Mumbai mayor's post has been reserved for a woman from the open category after a state-run lottery at the Secretariat. Conducted by the Urban Development Department, the draw set the reservation matrix for 29 municipal corporations across Maharashtra, placing Mumbai, Pune and Nagpur in the open category while mandating women mayors in several key cities. Thane and Bhiwandi Nizampur are likely to see mayors from the scheduled caste category, while 8 civic bodies including Kolhapur, Chandrapur and Panvel have been slotted for OBC representation, with women mayors in 4 of them. But the decision has sparked a fresh political storm. The Uddhav Thackeray-led Shiv Sena has cried foul, alleging the reservation exercise was manipulated to favour the ruling alliance. Former Mumbai Mayor Kishori Pednekar has questioned why Mumbai was kept out of the OBC or ST categories, claiming that last-minute rule changes diluted category thresholds and weakened her party's position. The government has rejected the charge as baseless and insists the draw followed the law. The high-stakes mayoral election is likely to be held by the 29th of January. Well, that's all the time we have on this edition of Headlines at 8. Thanks for watching. Do join us again at the same time tomorrow.